Welcome back to the HX studio. We're here with Jason Thierrien with Thunder Tech, a marketing agency dealing a lot with travel tourism.
Indeed.
So how are you today?
Very well.
Good.
Yourself?
Thank you for being with us. We're doing good. You've got some interesting 2016 marketing trends for the travel industry. What are the top three that you can tell us about?
Every year we do these, and this is the 7th year of doing them. And this year is really interesting. We decided to take more of a consumer-driven approach because we all look at competitors, we all look at each other, and sometimes adjoining fields. That's not who's buying, right? So what are those trends from a consumer standpoint that they're looking at? Probably the sexiest of the three I'll lead with is in the social media realm. And social's gone live, we're calling it. But it's really about live streaming. So we thought social was fairly real time, if not real time. Well, now with live streaming, through the emergence of Meerkat and Periscope. Periscope was purchased by Twitter and is now integrated.
Periscope is becoming very popular.
Yeah. It's really interesting. And I think for destinations and properties, there's good and bad with that. Right?
Yeah, how can that, I'm just thinking of how that can be translated into the business aspect of it all.
So we're most interested at Thunder Tech about live streaming for these properties because it's still early. There's enough of a mass to say something's probably going to happen. It's not going to go away overnight. How fast it adopts, we'll see, but now's the right time to test while the consumer might be a little more forgiving. So we've seen it used well with live events, to show construction progress, do tours of rooms, and just create really interesting, simple content, beautiful sunrises or sunsets, you name it, just to create an excuse to keep the brand out there, because most of the time it's going to be with your brand ambassadors. So you're just feeding them more lovely content to use.
And the rooms is interesting because I would think now with all the emerging technology, people just don't want to see a still photo of a room.
Well, you hit on another trend. I won't get into that, but certainly photos, the advent of motion on everything, every social platform, websites, etc., and that fills into the live streaming arena, really pushing. Consumers want to see more.
Right.
And they don't want to see stock.
No, exactly. They want to know exactly what they're about to get.
Absolutely.
Also, we're talking about another trend, ad blocking within online advertising. So talk a little bit about that.
So just in the last couple of months, this has gotten really heated in the advertising and marketing fields. So if any of the hoteliers are reading, their CMOs are reading Ad Age or what have you, they've been overwhelmed by this topic. And we've actually titled it the ad block boogeyman, right? Some of this is real, and you got to pay attention to it. Some of it is hype, and we're going to have to figure out if the boogeyman's real or not.
How do you do that? And that's a challenge.
So one of the trends over the last couple of years that we believe has led to this is programmatic advertising. So people are buying more online advertising in real time, they're buying it cheaper, and they're just pushing ads through the systems. Consumers are fed up with it. And now the big reason in the last couple of months this got all the attention it did was that Apple allowed ad blocking technology into their iTunes store.
Right. That's been huge.
Very big. A couple of the apps stayed in the top 10 for about a month in terms of downloaded apps, paid downloaded apps. So consumers were spending money on that platform to pay to not see your advertising.
Which must be for advertisers and marketers, it's like thinking backwards.
Absolutely. So it's to the point of saying, right now some of the numbers, the best, I should say guesstimates, put it at about 6% of mobile web users use ad blocking. So it's not a number that I think you've got to tear up your ad buy around, but it is a trend that is changing, and you got to keep an eye on it. We frankly think this is a great opportunity to look at your ad spend and diversify. First, get more in tune with it. Don't just send it over the wall to a media buyer or a media agency and forget about it. You've got to take more ownership of where those ads are actually going, because that's why they're getting blocked.
Right.
They're going to places they shouldn't be, and the consumer's sick of it. Second, I think it's a great way to look at other trends like content marketing and brand journalism, saying, let's start taking some of that ad spend and just slice a small piece of it and put it in some of these other emerging areas that consumers do want to hear from us in.
And lastly, a trend, the lifetime value of a client.
It's the least sexiest, but maybe the most effective.
But yeah, exactly. You took the words out of my mouth.
I think a great subset of this industry has been doing it well for years are casinos, right? They know what you're playing because those rewards cards, they've got a treasure trove of data behind you, and they know how to entice you on a one-to-one level. So there's two things happening. There's the abundance of data that all these properties are collecting on their occupants, their visitors, and then there's also the increased cost of lead acquisition and the ability to compete out there, especially on the web, to attract visitors to your property. So it may take longer of a payback. So you can't just say, great, we got them for this night or this weekend or this trip. Say, we need to bring them back. We need to get more serious about that because of what we paid to acquire them in the first place. The good news is the data's there. They've just got to change the mode of thinking.
And it's becoming probably more difficult to keep that client as a lifetime client.
Well, it's you got to understand what makes them tick. How do they want to be messaged? It's like ad blocking, right? Just don't start throwing them emails just because you got their email address.
Right.
You've got to understand that, and that's where the art and the science is still balanced.
Okay. Well, Jason, thank you so much for taking time to be with us here at the HX studio. Jason Thierrien with ThunderTech. Pleasure. Thank you so much, and we'll be back at the HX studio.